Hey guys, so we know that you've probably been sent to this episode by one of the coaches at STCfit. I just wanted to give you a little bit of a heads up that there is about 20 minutes of banter at the start of the episode. So if you are here for purely the content, you can fast forward to the 20-minute mark. There'll be a timestamp on the tile, so you can head over there. And if you want to hear the banter, you can just keep on listening.
Hello and welcome to the STCfit podcast. I'll be your host today. My name's Nat Jurek, and with me I'll be joined by Ben Scott and Jason Galea. On the podcast, we'll be discussing all things related to our 5-step method to experiencing total clarity in knowing how to achieve your goals, present and future. The podcast is brought to you by STCfit for all your online and personal training needs. If you enjoyed today's episode, please give us a share and tag at Nat Jurek STCfit, at Ben Scott STC, and at Jason Galea _STC. Hope you enjoy the show.
I actually, they were probably the worst exercise I've ever had to do.
It's only because you guys trained in a health club. Otherwise, you would have had safety bar.
There was a safety bar there, though.
Was there?
Yeah.
Maybe I just didn't like you.
Probably. That sounds more accurate.
I think you need to pull this in more.
Where?
Just bend it towards you.
It's really warm in here.
You do have 18 layers on.
Do you know why? Because I'm not wearing a bra.
Fair enough. Because you forgot again?
Nah, I just never wear one anymore.
Hey, it's 2022. It's optional.
Alex just looks at me and he's like, are you leaving the house like that? And I'm like, no one can tell. Like, why the fuck wouldn't I? Oh, no.
It is optional now.
As long as we're not recording, I can tell you that I left the house.
We're definitely recording, just so you know.
I left the house without undies on Monday.
What the hell?
Yeah.
That's a step too far.
I was wearing my trackies.
I don't think that Instagram handle's going to take off.
No.
Like the free the nipple thing.
Not free
or like no bra club and all that kind of shit. I get it. No underwear.
I was horrified. I literally
that.
Went to go get changed and I looked at Alex and I'm like, do you want to know something? And he's like, what? And I'm like, I forgot to put undies on this morning. And he's like, I'm fucking calm.
How do you forget that? Are you a naked person?
Yeah.
I'm not.
Really?
Yeah. My wife is, but I'm not.
Yeah, I'm a naked person. It's just
I'll be
comfortable.
up in the morning, eating my toast and shit. Amy just walks out.
Naked? Yeah.
What are you doing, bro? This is outside.
There's windows
there's
here.
the bathroom, and
Yeah.
from the bathroom is 10 steps to the underwear drawer.
Yeah.
That's
and you
it.
could just put something
There's
on.
there's nothing, for me, there's nothing in between that.
But do you want to know what's even worse? We were here. I was here.
Fucking hell. So not only did you forget to put underwear on,
but I was around all of you guys
to
with
a
meeting.
work meeting
with no undies on. And right now I don't have a bra. So I don't know how far we're taking this thing.
So we are going to start the hashtag of... So there's no bra club.
Yeah. There's Pants Off Friday.
There's pants off. It's still... Even that, you still got to wear underwear.
Underwear, but I don't know. What do you want to call it?
I don't know. We
It's
need
freedom.
to come up. Listeners can submit.
Oh my God. I hope Alex does not listen to this episode. He's going to fucking kill me.
I'm going to tell him to. As soon as I land in Switzerland, the first thing I'm like, have you listened to the episode yet? Just to see what he said.
I'm going to say you're banned. Everyone else knows, but you're not allowed to.
So, continuing on, and this is hilarious, so we can preempt it. So this is the episode we're going to send people when they want to know what we do.
Yep.
And this is going to be the first thing that they hear.
Oh, fuck. Everyone's going to turn off.
It's like,
switch.
Nat doesn't wear any underwear.
Underwear or pants to the meetings.
She just doesn't like wearing clothes, really, by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Tell us about your engagement party. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, it was really, really good. It was so nice to have...
Have you recovered?
Just today. I woke up today and I'm like, okay, I feel human.
I'm a person.
Yeah, this is good. But Monday and Tuesday weren't good. It's probably why I came to the meeting with no pants on. That's my excuse. I was hungover.
How was your engagement party? Well, I went to work without underwear on Monday.
So, fuck. painting a real bad picture here. Yeah, it was so nice to have. I think that's what we were both excited for, to have like everyone, because you never get to have all the people like that are important to you in one room at one time.
It's so cool, isn't it?
Like, it just never happens. And we're like, the only time that'll ever happen again is probably at our wedding, and that's it.
Yeah.
So that was probably the best part. And then, like I told you, watching my dad open his like A3 piece of paper with block letters to make his speech, which is really cute.
He just seems like the sweetest man.
Yeah, when Jace is like, I was feeding Benji and he just looks to me and he's just there.
Just the head
the
shake.
And I'm like, fuck, I've seen that plenty of times. Welcome to my life. But no, he's the best.
We were chatting to him on the way out. I was like,
Yeah.
I love your house. He's like, oh, yeah, it's nice, but now all the girls are moving on. We're going to like get out of here.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh. He's like, he seemed real sad about it.
Yeah.
Oh, all the girls have gone.
It's just him and Benji, my mum. Yeah, no, they're going to sell it and like obviously build like another house, but because like we've had so many events and birthdays and everything, I think having the engagement at home, like they both got so emotional and like sentimental over it. Like, this is the last like big event that we're probably ever going to have here. So yeah, and he was already like super emotional on the day, which was so cute.
I think it's cool, that event thing though, like you said, we're the same. We have different groups of friends in lots of different places.
Yeah.
So like I have high school friends, Amy has old friends, there's work people, there's even just different work people from around the place, family and shit, and like to walk in where everyone's in one spot. You're normally like the
subgroup.
the subgroup of like, you're the friends, and then there's the other friends, or they're like whatever, and there's the family, or there's all the friends, whereas this is like, every single person there, and you invited
which
them
is
on
actually
purpose,
fucked, because we were like, oh my god, we did not sit down for like 3 hours. Like it's just constant, like you go to talk to someone and then someone else like grabs you and you're like, what? Like, where am I? What's happening? Like, just all over the place.
Yeah.
But like, again, we're like, fuck, it just goes to show like how little you see everyone, like, because you want to catch up with everyone, and then you're like, gotta go talk to this person, like, gotta go talk to that person. But it was really nice, and like obviously because of lockdowns and COVID and stuff, like even people that we would see at like events or like important occasions, we haven't. Yeah. So it's like even more extended. So it was really nice.
Yeah, I think that was my favorite thing about having like the smaller ceremony for us, or ceremony. So it was like, I think we had 30 or 32 or something. Yeah. So it was like, that was done in like an hour. Yeah. And then it was like, I want to sit down. I can. I want to eat. I can. Like,
did not have any food whatsoever.
You didn't?
Nah.
Fuck, you missed out.
Yeah, I know.
It was elite.
I know. Because like by the time like everything got set up, then everyone starts to come, and I did grab a plate and then I had to put it down, and like that was it. Yeah. So that was annoying.
Yeah, I was disappointed because based on the theme of today's episode of getting next level results, I had I call it protein sludge.
Oh my god.
There's 2 scoops of protein powder.
Yeah.
2 tablespoons of peanut butter, a little bit of milk, and you just whip it up, and it turns into like, I don't want to say a mousse because a mousse is light and fluffy.
Yeah,
but like,
I feel like it's gonna be
a super
thick,
dense mousse. It's fucking delicious.
Really?
But I on purpose had that at like 4:30, 5 o'clock. Yeah. Because I was like, this will stop me eating like an arsehole.
And no.
Yeah, I actually I ate some fruit, and I had some salad.
Did you have sushi?
I ate meat. I had some sushi. Yeah, but even the sushi, I was like, nah, on the fried chicken one, bro. I'll just have the prawn and the salmon.
Health boy.
Yeah, I reckon I would have been within my calories.
Really? That's a pretty good effort.
Maybe besides the fucking whatever the shots that were going down there. Yeah. The second one was alright. First one was rough.
I wonder what it was.
What's it called?
Rakia?
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah, yuck.
Yeah, that was rough.
Oh, Alex bought a bottle when we went to go like to keep in our house, because he's like, I want to be like all the old wogs who have a bottle that just sits in their house. Yeah. And when we got home, he made us, this is like when we got all the alcohol for the event, he made us have a shot, and he poured it into a glass because we don't have a shot glass, and we did it, but it was so big that it was like 3 gulps. And I fucking died. I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, how big was that? And he's like, I don't know. Like, it was fine for me. And I'm like, oh my God, I can never, ever have one of those again. Like, it was just
hilarious.
Disgusting. It made me gag so much.
I remember being like 17 and going to like I think they were Italian friend's birthday party. And I was like the whitest of white boys. And they're like, oh, do you want some grappa? I'm like, fuck, I'll drink anything. Like at this stage of my life, I was drinking Jim Beam straight out of the bottle. I'm like, whatever, bring it. It's like, oh, just a cap. Like just a cap of the bottle. I'm like, yeah, all right. Like whatever. God damn.
Yeah. It literally like goes straight through you. Like I could feel it like bubbling in my stomach. And I'm like, oh my God, this is not good.
Instantly warm.
Yeah, like full on heats you up.
Yeah, it was like if you weren't next to the fire, you were standing in fog. And I was like, I don't care right now. I'm so warm.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Not good. And then we're following up with your like reception this weekend.
Yeah. So.
And then your honeymoon.
This weekend is nuts.
Yeah.
I was talking to Amy. It's like we finish at 4:00 tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's Amy's last client, and then Formula 1 all day Friday.
Oh yeah. Fuck.
We have
oh my God, what a Friday for that to fall on.
Yeah, extended family photo shoot on Saturday afternoon, straight to our wedding reception. Pack Sunday, leave Monday, gone for a month.
God, you're gonna be tired, boy.
Keen. I'm one of those people. I don't know if you get it too, where it's like I get tired before stuff.
Yeah.
So like yesterday was huge, and like a couple of big like important things on as well. So leading into it, like I didn't sleep Monday night. It was just like more stressed and tired before
it's
that.
Like the adrenaline.
Yeah, like, and then last night, even though I'd had a shit sleep, it was like 10 o'clock. Amy's like, "Why are you so awake?" I'm like, "Oh, all the hard shit's done.
Yeah,
like, I'm over the hump now."
Yeah. Yeah, fuck, that's going to be full on. And then you're going to be adjusting to like jet lag and like
30
flying
hours.
and
30 hours transit time.
Oh my God, and like you haven't done that in so long as well.
So we leave at midday from here and then we get in at 6 a.m. and then we have a 3.5 hour drive.
Oh my God.
So fun story, right? This is going to become a whole banter episode. We will get to the content, guys. Timestamp if you want to skip this shit. So booked this like ski resort. Thinking autumn will be fine. Doesn't really matter. Then started to think about it. I'm like, is there going to be snow? So I looked it up and there's like this week, if we had gone this week, we would have been fucked. Like the whole thing would have been snowed in.
Fuck.
Yeah, because it's freak. Like it shouldn't snow now, but it did.
Yeah.
And next week's all fine. But yeah, it's like I looked at the road going up the mountain. It's just like like you can see it on Google Maps how wavy it is all the way up. And I was like, oh, that's going to be fun in ice and snow and shit. But we're going to have tops of 10, so it should be fun.
Fine.
Yeah.
10.
Well, 10's awesome. I really, really like the cold.
Yeah, you're a weirdo.
Yeah, I love it.
I wonder, nah, that's not it at all. Or fucking driving in that either. Oh my God. When we were in Tassie, we were staying at the top of like the mountain, like you would have seen the view. And we're so stupid. There was a house before our house and we thought that was our house. And the driveway, I'm not joking, was like this. Like it was so fucking steep and there was no like pavement on it. So it was like purely up gravel. And we had the shittest like rental car that like even to like accelerate to 100 on the freeway, it wouldn't make it. So we're like, Alex is like, I just got to go like 2 hands, accelerate and that's it. Like, and just fucking hope for the best. So we go up the top of this like massive hill. We come around the side and I'm like, I'm really unimpressed by this house. Like that doesn't look like what we ordered. And we went up to, there was like a baby seat like sitting on the like driveway, like just shit everywhere. And I'm like, what the fuck have we done? And then we go up to the door and I look inside and I'm like, people live here and this isn't where we're staying. So then we had to go down it and he's like, oh fuck's sake. And then we like drove around and our one had like a little bit of pavement so it wasn't that bad. But fuck that. Like this is just terrifying.
That's the best. Yeah, I'm just like, fuck it, send it with that stuff, hey. Like I drove through the Champs-Elysees in Paris in a hire car at like in peak hour. It's like
it gives me anxiety.
Send it, it'll be right.
What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, I haven't crashed one yet.
Yeah, fuck yet. Please come back from Europe.
The prices in Switzerland are stupid, so I hope we get a nice car. It's like what we paid for the week is ridiculous. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's exciting. I guess we should probably get into the content for today then.
So I was gonna try and like do some segue about training while I'm there and shit, but yeah,
Nah. Are you going to train while you're there?
Plan is yes.
Really?
Yeah, because I am pursuing going to the next level with
there
my
you go,
results.
You did it.
Yes. Yeah, I think so. I think we'll do. My only goal is to come home lighter.
Wow, you're probably the only person to ever go on their honeymoon and probably actually successfully do that too.
Yeah. Look, with what we're doing, I think the only place that will kind of be just hanging out will be Spain. And that's the second week, and that's Easter. So
yeah,
Paris and London might just be a reflection of how fat we get in Spain.
Probably. Are you still going to train like 3 times per week? Is that the goal?
Look, I think like steps is obviously going to make up a big part of it. A lot of Switzerland's hiking stuff, walking around. So that'll be easy. There's no gym where we're staying. It's closed still because of COVID. So I'll probably do running while I'm there.
Yeah.
There's
You're a
a
hybrid
gym.
athlete now. You can
That's right.
train wherever.
That's right. I think there's a gym pretty close to the one in Spain.
Yeah.
In Malaga, and then obviously Paris and London will be pretty easy to find.
Yeah.
Gyms there. So yeah, if I don't lift, I'll run.
Yeah.
So that's the plan.
What about the food?
So I think I've been kind of thinking about it. So I reckon particularly Switzerland's like $10, $12, $15 for a coffee.
Yeah.
So we'll probably just like pack lunches and shit while we're there anyway. So that'll be easy.
easy.
And then I reckon everywhere else, like I'll just have like one event meal a day.
Yeah.
And then that will be enough. Like if I go to a French patisserie and I want to have a coffee and a pastry, then I'll fucking have it.
Yeah.
But I won't go to the all-you-can-eat breakfast and then go there and then go to like some bougie dinner as well. Like not overall.
Just pick when you want to do it.
Not send it the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, I can't relate. When I went to Europe, I came back like 10 kilos heavier.
I think last time Amy went to Switzerland, her and her cousin bought a 1 kilo wheel of cheese.
Oh my God.
I think they were there for 3 days and they didn't take it with them.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. She's a cheese monster. So
I feel like if you just pick and choose when you want, like you don't really eat that much anyway unless you're going somewhere to specifically eat, like for the food.
Yeah.
You know, like you go on like if you went to America or something, like you would eat like an asshole because you can eat like an asshole there. Like it's people go there for the food. And
it's such a trap to like America's a great example. We spent so much. I reckon we spent $2,000 in 10 days on food.
Yeah, it's so easy to do there. Yeah. We're the same. And like it's just everywhere you turn. And it's like that's the outing. Like that's the event. Like there's not that much to like you do your sightseeing and whatever, but then you're like, let's go and eat. Like that's it. So yeah. But yeah, that'll be interesting to watch. You're gonna vlog it all?
So that's the plan. So we're gonna do like a online coach life.
I said
working
do travel
abroad.
vlog.
The travel vlog got far more votes than anything else when I posted about it, so we're definitely going to do that as well. We might even like start a bit of a channel and do some stuff like hopefully one video takes off and it's like, oh, that paid for one accommodation. That'd be nice. But yeah, it'll be fun. So yeah, we'll do a travel vlog, we'll do working from home, we'll do shreds on the honeymoon, and then we'll also do like a I was being funny on Instagram and just called it like a spiritual awakening. So I just said to Amy,
I did vote on that one on Mum.
Yeah. I just said to Amy, I'm like, whatever you want to do for the next 4 weeks, I'm in.
Yeah.
So like if you want to get up and do meditation or like some breath work or whatever, like I'm in.
And she's going back to that world.
Yeah. Yeah. So she was very excited about that. I'm pretty sure she cried, which is standard.
Yeah, she said it in our session. She's like, I'm like gonna step back into that world, and I was like, yes.
Yeah.
So excited.
Yeah. Everyone she's talking to at the moment keeps telling her that she's too much in her masculine energy.
That's what she said to me.
She hangs out with me too much.
That's exactly what I thought. I'm like, fuck off, Ben. Leave Mum alone. Let Mum do what Mum does
Damn you and your
best.
logic.
Yeah. Take your logical brain away from here. That's so funny.
All right. So how to get next level results? Timestamp, everyone, just good
right
banter. And
Cam, do everyone the favour. Well, I guess if you skipped past there, you missed the best bit about our clothing. So you should probably rewind anyway. So next level results. I mean, I guess we probably need to come back to where this like conversation came from for us, because we've been doing like some reflection over like what it is that you guys actually want. And I think it's important to recognize that like we're constantly evolving and looking at what the client needs.
Yeah.
And like the person who's listening to this isn't the person who is using like a generic PDF program or like doing an 8-week challenge or any of the stuff that like given, like we used to talk to that person and work with that person, and we don't anymore. Like,
or if they are, it's like they fucking hate it and
they want to go to the next level. And like they're kind of in that rut where it's like, well, I don't really want to be here, but I don't really know what else is like available to me. So that's probably where this came from, and like where that next evolution and that next step has come from. It's like looking at what you guys are after, looking at what you want to achieve. And also, like, it's probably important for us to mention, like, the things that we're able to now deliver. Yeah,
what we're the best at.
Yeah, and, like, even considering coming out of lockdowns and the way that we present that as well, because obviously we've been super limited in how we can provide you guys with more opportunities. And it's, like, one of the core reasons that we can now do this is because we can do the lift off and the photo shoot.
Yeah.
So it's like we can give you guys higher standards to work towards because we can provide these events and opportunities.
Yeah, and I think I put a post up yesterday or something this week. All the days are the same at the moment. About how everyone's training goals have shifted so much, like particularly here in Melbourne, but I think everywhere I'm seeing like all these powerlifters go and do something else. Yeah. Or they're into bodybuilding now.
A big one.
Or they're they're into jiu-jitsu now, or they're being a dickhead and trying to run like me. But it just in general, even like with the bodybuilders and stuff, are like, I actually want to go outside, or I want to, you know what I mean? Like they want to
explore something else,
something that's a bit different. Yeah, work's become a priority, or family's become a priority, or whatever. Maybe it's just because I'm old and all of my friends are like over 30 now. And they're like, actually, we have adult responsibilities. So yeah, dedicating it's more, and this is the point I want to get across with this, is like when we talk about next level results, the comment I made is it's not always about more, but it's always about better.
Yeah.
So our thing, and I know like you're the same, even when there's not a comp, it's like when comp season's on, it's like 16 hours training a week.
Yeah.
When it's not, it's maybe, for me at the moment, it's like probably 5.5 hours a week training. Yeah. So it's like literally a third of the work. But when you get there, you show up and the goal is to be better.
Yeah.
So it's not, I think a lot of people are losing kind of vision, and those people that are doing PDF programs or like searching around for like, how do I get better results? It's like, you don't have to fucking
do more.
Yeah. Start training 20 hours a week and to get an outcome. It's just like, what do you deem to be next level results? And then what can you commit to? And let's make that time the best it can possibly be to get the best fucking outcome we can in that time.
Yeah. And I think like looking at the person that, or the people that we are, which then kind of reflects with the clients that we work with, like we tend to attract like the similar type of person to what we actually want ourselves.
Heaps of people that don't wear underwear.
Yeah, we'll soon find out, guys. Please slide into my DMs and let me know if this is you. I'll be your coach. Don't worry about Ben.
Text messages only, just to clarify that.
But yeah, it tends to be like the person who is not only a high achiever with their results, but it's like all the other things in life as well. Yeah. So like you said, there's other things that this person's trying to juggle, and this kind of comes into one of the main core problems that we see is there's a lot going on. So it's like, how do I still commit to all of the other things that are important to me, knowing that this is still inside of my top 3 values, not compromise anything else, but also not compromise my result. Yeah. Because that's important as well. And I think that like, because of the overwhelm that comes with that, it can be really easy for this person currently to go, okay, well, you know what, this is too hard. So I'm just going to like completely put the brakes on over here so I can focus on my family, my career, like whatever it is, my relationships. However, we know that you actually don't want to do that. Yeah. You want to be able to still get the result and be ticking off all of those other boxes.
Yeah, and I think there's two types, right? Like, so there's the problem we've identified is you're directionless with your training and nutrition. You don't really know where you're going. There's two types of people. There's the person who thinks they should be doing more, or just to get a particular outcome, or they don't really know what an outcome is. Like, think about when we decided not to do nationals last year.
Yeah.
It was like, pulled out, all right, and it was like this fucking giant void just opened up beneath you. Like, I know for me, like, that's all I thought about for 5 years.
Yeah.
Was like making nationals, and it's like, it's probably not going to go ahead, so we just cancelled. It was like, fuck, what do I do with my life?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's that. Then there's also me 5 years ago who's like, I fucking want that.
Yeah.
I want that thing and I want to get there. And who does have the 16 hours a week or the whatever, but doesn't know how to spend it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what do I invest my time in? I'm willing and able, and I'm like, fuck you guys. It's like, you're old and don't want to do shit. I'm in. Like, I want to get fucking shredded or fucking strong or whatever it is. I'm ready to go. How do I do it?
Yeah, well, I think that, like, that's probably the transition, because it's like, you know what you want, but knowing how to actually put everything together to be able to get that is, like, really hard right now, because the education isn't there. You don't have the guidance. You don't have everything that you need to be able to put all of those pieces of the puzzle together. And I think on the flip side of that, it's, like you said, also probably evolving goals, because like reaching your highest potential or taking your result to the next level isn't just losing the same 5 kilos, you know, every like 6 or so months.
Yeah.
It's like doing the photo shoot, then I'm going to go for the lift off, then I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do that. And it's like constantly evolving. So it's like, how the fuck do I then take all of these goals that I have and make them manageable and achievable across a time frame as well,
and kick ass in life?
Yeah, and still like tick all the boxes and just be this like fucking weapon at everything, which is like, you know, what we would want.
Yeah.
So I think that comes into it as well, because it's like, I want to do that and that and that and that and that, and it's like, well, how do I rein it in and know when to? And I think you mentioned this yesterday or something on socials. It's like, know when to go and know when to pull back, and having the system behind you to be able to like put that in place.
Yeah, and I think that's, and yes, it's a shameless plug, but I think that's the benefit of coaching. Like, that's like, I literally had that conversation with my coach 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like, went away and I just caught my reflection. I was like, ugh. Like, and it's the first time really, like, coming up, I was always like, oh, you're too skinny, but I'd never really disliked what I saw. But this was just like, oh, you're a slob, sort it out.
Yeah.
And like relatively to normal life, probably not so much, but like compared to what the standard I set for myself. And I was like, fuck this. Like, I'm going to the gym 5 days a week. Like, this is, and my coach was like, now 3 weeks ago we had a conversation and your goal was work, health, blah, blah, blah. Training was to facilitate that. We'll drop your calories a little bit, slow cut, calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yes, coach.
I have been put back in my place.
Yeah, it's like, okay, don't be a dickhead, because I know what will happen is I'll go flat out for 3 weeks and then I'll feel overwhelmed because work's not getting done and training's still subpar, and I'll just like collapse.
Yeah, this has literally been me for like the whole year.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm ready to diet next week.
Yeah.
And next week he's like, another 2 weeks of maintenance.
Yeah,
like,
and that's what a coach is there to do, is like, this is what needs to happen right now for you to get to the next level of the goal that you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
So coming back to like that directionless with training and nutrition, it's like, you're either lost and don't really have a clear focus on what you want, which just makes it really hard to put together a plan, or you've got like all these spinning plates that you're not sure you can't manage, but you want this outcome still, and you still want to keep like career, family, work, social life, whatever it is that's happening. You want to keep those plates spinning, but still get an awesome outcome. And we use obviously the examples of like the lift off, the photo shoot. Even if you're like one step before that and you just like get in your best shape and get way stronger than you've ever been, like those just elite level outcomes for you as an individual.
Yeah. And I think like it's also important to recognize that like you probably are still getting a result. You're probably just not happy with it. Like, you know that you're capable of more. And I think that that's the difference between the person that listens to this and just like your general like Gen Pop client who is happy just losing, you know, the 5 kilos, looking a little bit better, feeling a little bit healthier. you might still be doing that, but you're like, okay, what's the next step? Like,
Yeah.
I'm bored of this and I need to do something
Yeah.
more exciting because that's not kind of fulfilling my needs. And like, I can relate to that hugely. Like, I remember when I'd kind of done a few years of training and I was like, fuck, you know, like I do this a lot. I put a lot of effort into this, but I don't know how to like express that in something that's valuable to me.
Yeah.
And I remember my coach just kind of like, she was in the bodybuilding world and she was like, come to a comp. And it wasn't what I wanted to do, but it was the only thing that I could see that was like, if I work really hard, then that'll be cool because that's a way to express that.
Fuck. That is soundbite that, Tim. That I don't know how to express these outcomes.
Yeah, because
it's like you've already got the change, right? You've shown up to the gym, you've trained, you've probably got those newbie gains. Now things have slowed down a little bit, but you keep showing up because you like it, facilitates different, we talk about values and all that kind of stuff, facilitates all of that for you, but there's no expression of it.
And
like your physique looks the same, your performance looks the same, there's no measurable difference in your strength. It's just like you're just showing up and getting a little bit better maybe all the time. But if I said like, tell me the results you got in the last 6 months, people are like, I don't know.
Haven't done much.
Don't know. Yeah. Whereas, and I think a lot of people fall into bodybuilding off the back of that, which is
1,000%.
People are like, oh, bodybuilding's bad for you. It's like, no, it probably just wasn't the right goal. You picked the wrong thing to express. Which is why we lean towards photo shoots first. It's like, do a photo shoot and then tell me if you want to keep going for 8 weeks.
Yeah, and like it's so easy if you are that person, like you're getting the result, but you're also probably thinking, what's the fucking point? Like, why am I putting in all of this effort? Why am I showing up so much? You know, why do I say no to social events? And why am I like, you know, the boring friend and all of these things when I don't have this like, you know, cool outcome and result to show for it?
Yeah. And
like, that's what we want to provide. It's like, give you an avenue to be able to express that, show up, be proud of what you've achieved, and then like reach the next thing.
Yeah, that's sick. That was a big for me. Well done, Nat. So that ties into like the second problem that we see the most with the clients, right? Is that like life keeps getting in the way, which we've kind of amongst that kind of touched on. It's like you got engaged. You're obviously going to have to plan a wedding. I've had a wedding and going to go overseas and all that kind of stuff. And it's the easiest, like we could finish this in one sentence. We won't because you guys will be bored, but life only gets in the way as long as you let it.
Yeah.
And it's about making, again, if you have direction with your training and nutrition and you have purpose behind it, life gets in the way a whole lot less.
Yeah.
And with the right, with the right coaching, you can put yourself in a position where when life gets in the way, you can still get results. Yeah. Like when you say to your coach, like, I just want to fucking like go crazy on a deficit. And the coach is like, 2 weeks more maintenance, please.
Yeah.
It's like, chill the fuck out.
Yeah. I think that the best way that I can like describe this, and I saw it with a client yesterday, I think it's a really great example, is knowing how to pick and choose your battles. So like I have this client who is working in a hospital in a COVID ward. She is studying at uni, so she works full time. She's just bought a house and she wanted to do the photo shoot and the lift off. And we had the conversation last week where she said, I'm fucking stressed like to my eyeballs. Like I don't know what to do. And I said, all right, we probably have to have a conversation around, is it worth doing both of these? Can we just do one?
Yeah.
And then she came back to me yesterday and she's like, thought about what you said. Don't really want to diet right now. Probably can't commit to it, but if I can be well fed and train for the lift off, then let's do that. Like, and all her like stress levels had come, you know, back to being normal and regular, and she'd, you know, gone and sought out who she needed to seek out. And I was like, that is the perfect way to like capture exactly what we're talking about when we say life can get in the way. Like she had every fucking excuse under the sun to say, pull the pin on both, can't do any. But she went, no, this is important to me. I can still do X if I manage it this way. Take the stress of dieting out of the equation, make sure I'm well fed, manage all my like recovery variables outside of training, and this can still happen. Yeah. And I was like, that is it. Like that is exactly who we're talking to.
And she can turn around in 6 months
and go
and say, I did that.
Nailed that.
Yeah.
Under all the circumstances and like still made it happen. Not to mention she had a full-on knee reconstruction and to being able to train lower body for like 6 months. So that was just like the perfect example of like how this can actually play out if you let it. Like if you are able to let go of the things that you don't need to do and kind of like create a hierarchy of what's important to you, that you can still go and achieve really cool shit even under really stressful circumstances.
Yeah, it's so interesting. You know what, like, bothers me a little bit?
What does? Tell me, Ben.
This whole, like, if you're a type A personality, if someone says that, or like you're a perfectionist or you're a whatever, that every single time I read that on social media, there's a negative connotation applied afterwards.
Yeah.
It's like, do you suffer from like perfectionism, and that means you don't, and you do, and you this and this, and
you
it's like,
self-sabotage
here's
yourself.
all the shit things that you do. It's like, hold up, because a lot of the people that I know that are like that achieve some pretty fucking cool things.
Yeah.
So like, how about we leverage that?
Yeah, don't try and fix it. Just try channel it in the right area.
Yeah. So the best way I've had it described to me about myself was like, so like I was like huge partier when I was younger. Like grew up in Shepparton, there's nothing fucking better to do. Just get wasted on a weekend. So, and it was like you had all this energy that you needed to get out, and you just didn't know where to put it.
Yeah.
So it was like, at the time I was like, well, let's just get fucked up all weekend. That'll be fun. Then it was like, okay, find something else. Then it was like totally obsessed with training. Then it was like totally obsessed with business. It's like, well, I put 200 kilos on my powerlifting total in 4 years. We won't go into the stats of the business, but we're doing pretty good, I would say, like better than most personal trainers. So it's like, how about we lean into that and go, well, if you're that type of person, leverage it and get yourself some wicked outcomes.
Yeah. Yeah. We've had this conversation before, and like, I have 1,000% noticed the same thing, where it's like, you're this type of person, let's fix that. And let's not aim for perfection, because that's a bad thing. Like, that's going to fucking destroy you and like, you know, break you down, and you're not going to be able to sustain that and all this shit. And it's like, well, number one, you probably don't need to sustain it all the time. Like, that's the best part. Like, you can know when to go and know when to pull back. Number two, it can actually help you like achieve something really fucking cool that you probably wouldn't achieve if you didn't have that high standard for yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a bit of a double-edged sword, like for some people who don't know how to manage that.
Yeah, there's having realistic goals and expectations in terms of outcomes. That's one thing.
Yeah.
But to say you shouldn't aim for really high outcomes, like, that's not it.
Yeah, and like, fuck, this just goes down. Like, we would go down a huge rabbit hole and like fucking wipe the entire content for the episode, because like this just falls into like all the hustle culture shit as well, where it's like, don't work hard, don't burn yourself out, don't do this.
It's important to rest.
Don't do that. And like, yes, and if you know how to manage this stuff, you can do that, and like, you can achieve something really cool. So I think it just goes against a lot of what today's culture and society like preaches to us of self-care and like look after yourself and blah 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 blah. And I posted about it the other week where it was like, don't let self-care like turn you off working hard and showing up and achieving something cool.
It's funny, 10 years ago we used to have conversations with clients about the shit their family said, like, oh, just have one, or you're already in shape, why are you going to the gym, like all that shit. That's what this bullshit on social media is. It's virtuously posting, oh, it's okay to rest, like, don't, like, you're gonna cook yourself, whatever, because it's like, don't do that, because I'm not. And that makes me feel bad.
You're calling me out, and I'm not working hard enough.
If you're the friend that trains really hard and everyone's like, oh, just come have a drink, it's like, it's the same. It's like, I haven't seen anyone fucking killing it, who, whether it's in the gym, with business, life in general, who's posting that. No, definitely not. So it's like, which group of people do you want to be part of?
Which is just like, I think it's the elitist mindset versus being mediocre and being happy with it. And that's fine. You're allowed to want that. Like, you're allowed to just want to settle with average. No one's saying that that's wrong, but maybe don't push that agenda on everyone else.
Yeah, if you're not,
it's like no one else.
If you're not happy with that, it's also okay. Like, I'm the same. It's like, it's okay that you don't wanna. I'm gonna though. Yeah,
that's fine. You do you.
I'm not gonna tell you that you have to do what I'm doing, but don't tell me that I have to do what you're doing. Yeah. So last one, unhappy with their current results. Again, we kind of touched on that already. Just like, whatever you're doing at the moment. And I think the biggest thing for this, and even some people are unaware of this even, that it's like that question, tell me the outcomes you got in the last 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that like sits with people and they're like, whoa.
Nothing.
Yeah. It's like, fuck, I've put in, say, 3, 4, 8, 10 hours a week just training. Not the time and energy you put into food, the emotional energy you put into thinking about what you're eating, your training, all the preparation, the recovery stuff you do, the going to bed early, the skipping the, like, choosing poached eggs on plain fucking toast at the weekend and not having that extra drink and being the designated driver, all of that over the last 6 months. And when you look back, there's no tangible outcome that you can say, well, Nat, I did this.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I mean, how many times do you have those conversations where it's like, are you happy with your result? And the person's like, yeah, I'm happy with how I'm going. And it's like, cool, what's the outcome? And they're like, radio silence. Like, no fucking clue. Which again is just like what we said before. It's having somewhere to be able to express that. If you don't have that, then the same losing the 5 kilos or like hitting the gym PB, like that's not enough for you. Like if you want a high standard of results, like I know for me, like hitting a PB in the gym doesn't mean much to me at all. So I'm like, yeah, cool. Yeah. Show me where else I can do that. How can I make that better? Yeah. So I think that
I think a lot of people aren't getting that though.
Yeah, probably not.
I can't even point to that.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you are, it's like that's not enough. Like that's not it. That doesn't give you that tick of like I did it. I mean, if I got the fucking 140 that I nearly killed myself in your garage for, and I'm like, that's not it. Like my PB is still what I did on the platform. Yeah, like, I'm like that doesn't count. Yeah. So I think like knowing
it counts to me as pretty gangster.
It doesn't count to me. Not until I do it on the platform.
It was a pretty badass lift.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would have counted on the platform. It was a bit hitchy, but it was still pretty fucking.
Yeah, but I'm like, it's not it. Yeah. And I think like knowing what your standard is for yourself and being able to like have a tangible way to measure that. Yeah. To say like, yes, that is what I aimed for, and I ticked that off. Like that's the way that we want to look at managing your result, because like having the wishy-washy like way of viewing that isn't enough.
It's so funny, like we obviously talked about how we've kind of shifted and looked at like what we're the best at, what our clients are looking for, who we're kind of dealing with. I just want to fucking go train right now.
Oh, I know. Like I'm going on my honeymoon and I cannot fucking wait to train in every gym in Europe. That's sick.
So let's look at, I guess, our method.
Yeah.
So obviously, like we said at the start, like this is an episode to tell you what we do and who we do it for and the outcomes we get. So we've refined our method, renamed it.
Yep.
We're pretty happy with the acronym. Mm-hmm. It's called the Master Method.
Yes.
MASTR.
Yeah.
Fancy.
Abbreviated.
No E.
Gangster. Yeah.
So what's the Master Method now?
So we've got mindset, which obviously you guys are all familiar with. Approach, which falls under programming. So it's the approach to your goals in the gym, like what you're actually doing. Sustenance, which covers nutrition. So why we eat, how we eat, and, you know, putting together a diet. Training. So training for strength and body composition and knowing how to prepare for your training sessions and prepare for like movement assessment and recovery. So all the things outside of the gym that you can do to optimize your result. So obviously you guys have, like, if you've been listening for a while and if you've seen our stuff, like you would have seen us talk about like mindset, can't remember our last order, like training, nutrition, lifestyle. So it's all still very similar, but just again more fine-tuned to the specific problems and solutions of the person that's listening to this.
Yeah. Firstly, it just sounds so much cooler.
It does.
The Master Method.
Yeah, it does.
But secondly, like Nat said, it's been from our end, like how do we refine what we do to take this person that resonates with us hugely? Like we've just brought in 3 new coaches and it resonates with all of them as well. It's why they're part of the team. Like it's been a very conscious decision to develop the method and the coaching process to facilitate these outcomes. Now, we've obviously talked, not deliberately, just like the way that our content rollout has kind of been. We've talked a lot about mindset, but we're assuming some people haven't heard this. Yeah. So if we start with the mindset piece, that direction, feeling directionless with training and nutrition, and life getting in the way, both of those things a lot of that's gonna come back to your mindset. And it's not like let's all like Amy take me to Europe and have a spiritual awakening. It's like, how do we get you to execute to the top best of your ability day in, day out, and achieve the outcomes that you want, and not get to the end of it like Nat and go, yeah, I did that, but a PB in the gym didn't fulfill what I wanted. It's like, well, what's the value we need to tick off for you to identify that? So there's probably 4 things that we look at in that area. So the first one's establishing a growth mindset. So the thing that solves is people that say, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't be that strong. I can't do a powerlifting meet. I can't do a photo shoot. I can't I can't.
Yeah.
Life's in the way. I can't.
Yeah.
And the idea of a growth mindset is that where you are currently that's all it means.
Yeah.
That it's not fixed. You can move beyond where you are right now to achieve essentially whatever you want.
Yeah. Next
is the ownership. So people are either usually are okay at one of these and not so good at the other. So I've always been very good at growth, and ownership took me a long time to learn.
Yeah.
So if we look at ownership is taking responsibility, whether it's your fault or not. So like your client who has 400 things to do, studying, full-time job, bought a house, blah, blah, blah. It's not her fault that life's crazy. But if she wants a result, it's still her responsibility. And it's like the responsibility there is like, oh, I didn't meal prep this week, so because I was busy with work, so I got KFC. Yeah. It's like, you chose to have KFC.
Yeah.
Like, that's like there's
and it's so fucking easy to do. Like, you know, you can. I did it yesterday. I was like, I haven't done nothing this week. And I'm like, there's this. And I'm like, wait, whose fault is that?
Yeah.
Like, it's my fault. I could have changed that.
Yeah.
So it's so easy to do. But I think what we are trying to get you guys to be able to do is recognize when you're doing it and then make a different decision. Yeah. Because it's like, I can sit there and say, oh, I haven't trained yet and it's Wednesday because I had my engagement and I was hungover for 3 days and there was work. And I didn't wear any underwear on Monday. I didn't want to go to the gym. Yeah. And like just all this stuff is going on. And then it's like, okay, but there's still 4 days left in the week. So I'll make sure that I schedule in my training sessions for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So by the end of the week, they still happen. Yeah, and that's it. Like this part of it is not about making you perfectly in a growth and ownership mindset at all times. Good luck. Yeah, it's about if that is the outcome, neither of us have achieved it yet, so we can't claim the coaches. But the goal is to get out of the opposite of that, so the fixed or the deflective mindset. In as short as possible time as you can. So because for most people, they can't even recognize it, let alone take half an hour to make the different decision. Yeah. Like that might take a week for some people. Or a month or 6 months. Yeah, so it's like trying to shorten that time frame so that when you do it, you know how to get yourself out and then change your trajectory for the next X amount of time so that by the time you get to where you want to be, you've done what you needed to do. Yeah, and like a good example of that's like what's the narrative at the moment. It's like, oh, well, we'll lock down for 2 years and then since I've been out, I just wanted to see my friends and family and blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, so you couldn't train and then you have decided, again, you couldn't train again now that you're out and you couldn't make good decisions. Like, you decided all along those things. Yes, there was external factors that maybe influenced the decisions, but you made the decisions. Yeah. So taking ownership of that, I can get results. I'm not stuck. I'm not victim to my surroundings. Yeah. I can go and get whatever I want to do. Yeah, and then I think like a lot of that, like following on from the next two things that we kind of look at, it's the values and the goals. And if you've got the values, then that makes those decisions a lot easier. Yeah. So you can look at what's actually important to you and then, you know, make decisions on a day-to-day basis that align with that. And then go on to set the goals in alignment with the values. So it's like everything kind of weaves back into what you actually care about, not what everyone else says that you should care about because you've been in lockdown and you should be spending time with family or whatever it might be. Yeah. So it's all very interconnected. But once you kind of get that, and you can see it, like we literally get you guys to like write it out on paper, like sit down and spend some time analyzing it. It makes everything so much more seamless. And it makes just the decision-making process and the way that you view these things day and night in comparison to what it had been.
Yeah, and I think like I always use, for me, it's the holy grail. It's the 300 kilo deadlift.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not the 300 kilo deadlift.
No.
Like that'll be the sign at the end, and that'll be a really incredible moment. But what's going to be a bigger part of it is taking a couple of years off. The work I did for 5 years, that every single day I improved and felt better. And then like what I'm doing at the moment is like, I'm actually still a person and can still train and still kind of strong.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are you stepping into the gym to feel in the moment, not just what's the outcome? And I think that question that you ask is like, what would your results be like if you just did what you said you were going to do for the last 6 months?
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, that's another one of like, fuck, way better than they've been. So if we can improve your ability just to complete the task you say you're going to do, you're going to get better results. And that's why this mindset pillar is so important. So knowing why you're going to the gym and then setting goals that facilitate them. It's not about the photo shoot. That's the outcome, and that's how you're going to say at the end of it, like, yep, job done.
Yeah.
But it's the process of working towards that that actually gets you to show up on a day-to-day basis. Because if you don't like that thing, you don't like the daily showing up, then like you're not going to fucking do it.
Yeah.
And then in 3 months, you're going to, or 3 weeks, fall off the wagon.
Yeah. More
and
likely.
then be starting again and blaming life again and shit because you're not actually aligned with what you give a shit about.
Yeah. And then I think like the extension on the goal stuff, which is obviously something that we've been talking about with like the change in how we like deliver this, is getting really specific. And like you always, you've started to talk about a lot, is having time sensitive goals and having like creating some urgency around that, because so easy to just like fluff around and not actually make the progress that you want in the 6 months because you don't actually set yourself the deadline because it's like, oh, but that's hard.
Yeah.
Like that's going to call me out if I don't do it. So I think creating some urgency around that and setting a framework and some timelines around this needs to happen by this time and this needs to happen by this time, so that when you do reflect, you can go, yeah, I did do that by the time I said I wanted to do it.
Yeah. How many times have you been asked like, maybe not as much for you, but what do I need to hit in my numbers to compete?
Yeah. Or it's like, what should I be lifting by this time for that to be good enough? Yeah.
And it's like, well, if you set a deadline for the competition and you show up and you do your best, and then the next time you set a deadline and you show up and you do better, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the end of that conversation. It's not like our last meet. Fucking, we were 2 weeks out, I think. Yeah. And Anthony Cruiser messaged me. So for those who don't know who Anthony Cruiser is, he's probably going to be, hopefully, if he stays healthy, the best powerlifter Australia has ever seen. He's 26, I think, and totals 980. Messaged me and was like, hey, I'm going to come and do your meet. I was like, oh, okay. So I'm about to lose by 400 fucking kilos. Yeah. Are you kidding? Yeah. And I missed out on 4th place because Anthony showed up. It's like, oh, what am I supposed to do? It's like, oh, I'm not going to place because Anthony's going to be there. And a kid broke, I say a kid, just because he was small.
He was tiny.
I think, what did he deadlift? 5 times body weight or something? First time ever to do it?
No, I think it was 6 times.
6. Yeah, so deadlifted 6 times body weight. Nearly beat my total with his fucking deadlift.
Yeah.
It's insane. And it's like, so what? You just don't do it.
Yeah.
It's like, no. Set the thing, get the best outcome. I didn't leave that meet thinking like, oh, fuck, I'm not as good as those guys. Why did I even bother? It's like, nah, I did the thing.
Because I said I was going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like one of my clients, she is in the army and like her schedule is like insane. And she'd been saying like, I want to do a comp. And I'm like, just tell me when and we'll make it happen. And it was February and she goes, there's a comp at the end of March and I want to do it. And I'm like, let's go.
Okay.
So we did. And given like she could have done better with a bigger prep, but she was like, I want to fucking get on the platform as soon as I can.
Experience it.
I want to do it. And then once I do it, like that sets a standard for what happens after that.
Yeah.
So like she did it. She showed up. She did every single thing she needed to do in and amongst all the other shit that she had to do. And we managed all the variables. She performed really fucking well. And then just sat back and went, fuck, I did that.
Yeah.
Like, I did that given all the circumstances in 4 weeks. Like,
Yeah.
it was such an accomplishment. And again...
imagine what the application was like in that 4 weeks.
Oh, yeah. Insane.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I've got to fucking go now.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm not going to do well. So,
Yeah.
like, I need to do this shit.
Yeah. Like, I've had injuries 10 days out. And it's like...
Yeah, same. Fuck.
Yeah.
I remember having to cancel work because I couldn't walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I jarred a bone in my knee.
Remember that?
Like, yeah, literally, I reckon it was 10 days out. I still couldn't walk 5 days out. But it was like, everyone's got like that back niggle.
Yeah.
Or that hip niggle. Or that like, I get a little pinch in the bottom of my squat. And how long does it hang around for?
Yeah.
And then it's like, put a date and a time on something that you've got to do.
Yeah.
And that you've been working towards. I was
That'll
doing
go.
my rehab 3 times a day. I was like, it was elevated.
Yeah.
Like, I could have just probably got some crutches and got around work and just like, I'll just rest it.
Yeah.
It's like,
No,
it was
not
like
it.
working through painful hamstring curls with a band and doing all these rehab exercises 3-4 times a day, ice on, heat on, some walking.
Yeah.
Like constantly, because in 10 days time I had to do the thing.
Yeah, because the goal needed it.
And if it's 10 weeks time, it's like, I have to make sure I do my warm up properly.
Yeah.
I make sure I actually sleep properly. I make sure that I eat enough. Like all of those things happen because if I don't, I'm not going to be able to get the outcome. And how many people walk around, I think that's the best example, with a niggle that you just like, yeah, it's like, I go see the osteo once a month. And they're like, oh yeah, you know, you need to do this. And they're like, oh, I know. So how often do you do it? Oh, once a week.
Yeah. And like the best way that I can kind of like describe that to someone is find that thing for you. Because like you said, for you, it's powerlifting. For me, it's powerlifting. I said to Alex the other week, I eat better when I'm prepping for a meet. That's not like, don't give a shit about my body composition, but I'll eat way better and I'll pay way more attention to my diet than I do when I'm actually dieting. Yeah. Because I'm like, it's just not the thing for me. Like that's not important enough to me. Yeah. So I think when it comes to the goals, it's like find that thing that does that for you. Yeah.
So that moves into the next thing, which is like, I guess that's the us part, which is like the approach. Yeah. So the symbiotic relationship here that is like coach and client that I think is really, really important is to be able to be honest with each other about what you're capable of doing. Yeah. And then building a framework that's going to get you the best possible results. So it's not overshooting and asking you to train 10 hours a week if you can't. It's not pulling you back and only training 3 hours a week. If you can train 10, you want to, but I've got a bias that high achievers should rest. Like, if you want to go, let's fucking go. Like, finding where that, along that scale, that spectrum that's different for every person, where is that and what do we need to do to get you your best result right now? Yeah. Again, which is a moving target, because like this month versus next month is going to be different. Totally different.
Yeah, and I think like for a lot of people, it's not actually understanding the variables that matter when it comes to putting that program together for the goal. Yeah. Because like that's going to be totally different. And the best example I can give from that is every single person in the programming workshop call for Be Bulletproof was like, what the fuck? Like, how much thought goes into putting one of these together? Like, I had no idea. Yeah. And they're like, so glad I outsourced that because I don't want to do that. I don't want to think about that. But like, if you are someone who is working with a coach, then it's knowing, like you said, what those variables are. So you can communicate to your coach, like, this is too much. Yep. This is too little. Like, can we go here? Or whatever it is. And if you're putting it together for yourself, well, it's like a no-brainer. Yeah. You need to know that stuff to be able to, like we say here, like program for the platform, program for body comp.
Yeah, and you'll, I know because I do it when I program for myself, and that's why I have a coach. Either you'll go one of two ways. You'll do all the shit that you like, and you won't get any better, or you'll flog yourself and stop training every 3 weeks.
That was me in lockdown. I said to Jace, I've got all my equipment. Do you want me to just put my program together? He's like, yep. And I just stopped training. So I'm like, the fuck is this? I hate this shit. Like, I gave myself everything that I hate. And I'm like, this is not it at all. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the flip side of that too is like, I've got tons of stuff in my program at the moment. I'm like, really? Yeah. Mostly because I'm shit at it. It's not that I don't like it. I'm just
That's
fucking
what I did
terrible.
to myself. And I'm like,
yeah, because it's
listening
like
to me.
My coach has just been like, cool. So if you've worked in straight lines for the best part of 7 years, do a lateral lunge What?
Yeah.
And rotate and throw a ball hard. What?
Can't do that.
That's not a deadlift, bro. I can't. What are you talking about? So it's really important for that relationship to be open and to say, like, this is what works, like what I like, what I dislike. That's part of training is enjoying your training sessions, but also like, we're going to put this in. You're not going to like it.
Yeah.
But we need it.
It's giving you a little bit of what you want with a little bit of what you need.
Yeah.
And knowing how to find that balance.
Yeah.
Because it was so funny. Again, in the workshop, like one of my clients, I remember, so she's getting married and she was doing a hypertrophy block. And she said to me, can we do no more high reps? And then we did the call and she's like, I just realized how fucking stupid that question was. Because like my goal actually, like we should be doing this.
Yeah.
So again, it's like knowing how to put in a little bit of what is actually necessary for the goal, because it's like, I know you like to do 5s, but you want to look good. Like it's probably not going to be conducive to that goal.
Yeah, and you can have a 5 on a leg press at the start of your workout, and then we're doing volume shit.
Yeah. So it's like knowing how to kind of put that together for someone so that they like it enough to actually do it, but also get the result they want at the end of it.
Yeah, that's my relationship with Alex, your fiance. It's like, I don't want to do this. Like, but it'll be really good for you, but I don't want to go if it's in there. It's like
the fucking cardio at the end.
Can we do this instead? Yeah. Okay. And will you give that 100%? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Then we're in. It's like we find a way on that spectrum to get the outcome.
Yeah.
And I had that conversation with another client yesterday. It's like returning to training's got a long way to go to get back to his goal as a lift off, but it's realistically probably like he hasn't trained for 8 years. And he's a truck driver. So imagine how he moves.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, send a program that was just like single leg, B stance, fucking all the functional movement. It's like, I put the veggies in the pasta sauce, but there was big chunks.
Yeah.
And he was like, so I'm embarrassed when I go to the gym and I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's not going to fucking work.
No.
So here's a program that's machine-based. It's going to get you moving again. And I need you to do this at home once a week.
Yeah.
And then we build from there. And that's like not probably typical for the person we're talking about, but it's understanding, meeting the outcome with what you're going to show up and apply yourself to the best possible. And we've got in there like getting to the platform and prepping for a shoot. I think it's really important. And I think that the trap that people who feel that lost and directionless with training, they don't know why their programs it's there.
Yeah.
They don't understand like people come to Be Bulletproof because they want to learn how we program and why we program, right? But most people out there training don't even know what the purpose of the program is. Let alone like why each exercise was chosen in rep range and why we set that RIR here and blah, 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 blah. They don't even know what the outcome's supposed to be at the end of it. It's just like, I'm just training.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a really good example of that is like the photo shoot prep that we have, which is like the first phase is heaps of like lower body volume. And then the second one is like so much shoulders, like so much. And everyone gets that program and they're like, where's all the glute work?
Yeah.
Like, why is there so much upper body?
Yeah.
And it's like understanding how this plays out, not just like today, but over the course of like blocks and phases.
Yeah.
To by the time you get to the end of phase 1 and phase 2 to have what you want. Because like you're not going to be able to do that in that 4-week block. Everything that you need.
Yeah, and it's like that's based on what most women want to look like in a photo shoot. It's like, and people go, oh, I don't want big manly shoulders. Like, you might.
When it makes
like,
your waist look small, you do.
Yeah, and it's like, but I just want big glutes. It's like, yeah. So if your shoulders are wider, your waist looks smaller, which makes your glutes look wider. It's like,
and you look better. Yeah, so I'm going to do that now.
Yeah, it's like understanding that stuff where most people just go into the gym and do a program. Yeah. And it's like, I know I need to train glutes lots because I want nice glutes. Yeah. It's like, okay. And then from the front, then it's like, oh, I have no quads. Yeah. And it's like, oh, do you want quads? Because, like, in my opinion, my humble opinion, quads look quite nice too. Yeah. So it's like, how do you balance all that and be really clear on what you want as an outcome? And then powerlifting's the same. It's like, oh, I want to do, like, we call it a lift off. So it's like a pre-novice comp, basically. Show up in normal clothing, lift some weights, hit some PBs, have a great time, eat some fucking burgers afterwards.
Yeah.
The programming approach to that, it's the same thing. It's like, but I want to squat, bench, and deadlift. It's like, why am I not deadlifting 14 weeks out? It's like, because you need to hinge right now.
Yeah.
And we don't need to build fatigue right now. And people don't understand that, like, it's not communicated to, like, they'll just go, I want to get strong. Like your client, like, I'll just do 5s. I'll just do 3s.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so what's the stuff that you're doing to make you better at the thing? Because doing the thing is part of it. It's important. And doing the thing will make you better at it. But you probably need to do some other stuff to also get better at it.
Yeah, and again, it's knowing how that plays out over a period of time and what's actually necessary at each point in time to get you there as well. Because, like, one of the things that you see with, like, the person doing strength is just doing triples every 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not going to get you stronger.
And, like, where else in life do you do that?
Yeah, you don't.
Like,
you don't.
Right? Like, you mentioned the nurse before. The nurse doesn't just go and be a nurse.
Yeah.
The nurse has to go and learn what medication there is, how to improve bedside communication, and how to, I don't know, many things that a nurse does. So I'm struggling here. But you know what I mean? Like, you have to go learn the thing.
Yeah.
So go learn the thing physically that then ties over. You still have to show up and do the nursing. Like, when you're at uni, you have to do placement.
Yeah.
But what do you do before placement?
Yeah.
Learn the thing.
And it's like, you ask that person, like, did your lifts improve between those 8 weeks?
Yeah.
And they're like, maybe 2.5 kilos, like, if you're lucky.
Yeah, and they've been training for a year, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, and it's like, because maybe you need to get better at the skill.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to build some more muscle. Like, maybe there's all these other things that you're not doing right now that it's actually stopping you from getting stronger.
The same body doing the same squat just 8 weeks later.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
instead
like,
of a different body with more muscle and more coordination, and who's got a different / better squat. That when you get 10 kilos between meets instead of 2 kilos between
it's
meets.
the body composition or the weight loss equivalent of losing the same 5 kilos.
Yeah.
It's just like doing the same shit just in the next, 3 months time. And it's just, that's not it, because you're not going to look at that and go like, fuck yeah, I improved.
And I don't know about you, but nothing hurts my feelings more than thinking about that.
Oh, it is the fucking worst.
Like, putting in so much effort and not getting that.
That's the thing, because I'm like, do you probably feel like shit all the time, number one. Like, number two, like, how much time are you wasting? And you haven't actually, like, reached that next, like, level. You haven't seen what you're actually capable of.
Yeah, and you could probably do half the work and get the same outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. All right, so sustenance.
This one is, I think, like, thinking about who we were talking about previously, and I guess, like, the problems that we commonly looked at, it was like the under-eating, the restrictive diet, not knowing how to eat for the goal. I think some of that still applies now, but I think a lot of it comes, and something that, like, I put down this morning was, it's using the emotional brain to dictate, like, nutrition rather than the logical brain, and not making decisions off what actually needs to happen to facilitate the goal. It's basing it off what's happening in my life. It's basing it off, like, how stressed am I? It's basing it off, what did the scale say this morning? Like, how do I feel? Am I puffy? Like, all of these other, like, emotional...
Puffy is the best word.
But it's true. I'm pretty fucking puffy today. But it's like the person who doesn't have the education behind it is going, I feel like shit. So... exactly like you did, like, let's slash my calories, let's start dieting, let's go aggressive, and let's do all of these things to, like, fix it right now without actually having thought about what happens down the track. What does that mean for that goal that's actually going to mean something down the track?
Even trends, man. Like, obviously we use a data tracker to measure everything that you just mentioned, like that subjective kind of feeling as well as objective measures. Yeah. But it's like, oh, I feel rubbish. I'm like, yeah, you feel this, what you've entered here in terms of data is exactly the same as what you entered in terms of data 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Or it's exactly the same as what you entered as data the last time you were on the last week of your program.
Yeah.
Or the last time you missed sleep. Or the last, it's like, it's just that.
And that makes sense.
And you can see it. And it's like, yeah, okay, I'm not a fat piece of shit. It's just like this week or today, even worse.
Yeah. Well, I had a conversation with one of my clients, Mel, she was on the podcast last week.
Yeah.
And obviously she was, like, at our engagement, and she did a check-in on Monday, and she's like, I don't know what the fuck to do. She's like, I don't know how I want to eat. You know, like I feel like shit because we obviously ate and drank a lot on the weekend. Should I diet? Should I like go in a surplus? Should I stay in maintenance? Like, I need your help. And I'm like, okay, what's the goal? She's like, I just want to look strong. I want to be strong. I'm prepping for the lift off. And I'm like, cool, let's just go to maintenance.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, that is just like the perfect explanation for not knowing what to do for the longer term goal because you're so caught up in how you feel right now.
Yeah.
And it's being able to like zoom the lens out and go, okay, but what do I actually want in the next 3 months?
Yeah.
What do I need to do today to make sure that that happens regardless of how I feel right now?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing about nutrition and like, again, with the Be Bulletproof content as well, with the education side of it, it's learning what we can be proactive about. So when we set you up, we do a habit formation phase. We need to get you confident with whatever nutrition management plan we've decided upon, whether that's macros, whether it's eating well, whether it's protein, whatever it is, whatever on that scale we've decided what we're going to commit to. And I say we as in client and coach.
Yeah.
Then we're going to say, after a period of time of this, when we're getting subjective and objective data that suggests you're ready, which is in our language, we say green boxes because they turn green if you score high. Hey, dopamine.
Big tick.
Then we can go, all right, we can go into a active fat loss phase. And as coaches, we'll say this is going to be for 6, for 8, for 10, for 12 weeks. And this is what's going to happen. And then I'll often write like reassess here in the plan so the client can see like, all right, I need to go to there. And then it's like, all right, so say I've set 10 weeks, week 6, it's like, oh, I'm pretty fucking tired, I'm struggling, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, week 6 to 10, probably a stretch.
Yeah.
Can you give me 2 weeks of 100%? And then we'll do a 2-week diet break and we can go again. It's like, how much better for your mental state is that?
Yeah, it's like...
It's like, it's only 2 weeks. It's only 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then I get more food.
Because you see the light at the end of the tunnel. You're not like, oh my God, I need to diet like this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I'm stuck here forever.
And that is one big one. It's like you don't have to diet forever. And then the next part is like, well, I can commit for 2 weeks and then I get to have a break. And then I can still go again, still get, like we've got time to get to the photo shoot. I'm still going to look great. And then some people go, oh, but then it takes longer. Yeah. If I have that 2-week break, it's like, does it? Does it take longer than when you cheat on your diet?
Yeah, than when you go
for
backwards?
The next month because you committed to 10 weeks.
Yeah.
And then you just like don't tell your coach about that food that you ate on the weekend, that the cookies that you snuck in, the Twix bar or whatever that you were consuming along the way that you just like lied to yourself you didn't eat.
If I don't track it, it didn't count.
It's like, okay, so who ends up taking longer?
Yeah.
Well, the person that's fucking up every week.
Yeah. Well, it's having a roadmap.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you know where you're going and how do you put things in place? Because like you're going to come up against a roadblock at some point, like whatever it is. But it's knowing that you have the ability to put something in place to make sure that doesn't actually derail you. It's just like you're going around it. Yeah. Like that's it. It's just a little detour, but it's not taking you off the path entirely. Yeah. And that's what everyone who doesn't have things set up in this way does. They go off the path entirely, and then it's like, okay, I'll just reset that same goal, but we'll try and achieve it in another 8 months instead of should have been done 3 months earlier. Yeah, or go even more extreme and then fail harder. Yeah, well, yes, even worse. Just go 10 foot backwards. Yeah, and the same thing happens in the other direction too. Like if you want to build muscle, it's like, cool, we're gonna. What I always like to do with that is like set a waist measurement target. Yeah. It's like you're going to put on some weight and your waist measurement's going to go up and that's part of it, particularly in the first 2 weeks until things sort of try to figure themselves out, particularly if you're coming out of a cut or whatever. So we do that. How much confidence do you have in, like when you wake up and you feel, what was the word you used? Was it puffy? Puffy. You feel puffy and you like, oh fuck, I need to diet. Yeah. It's like, do waist management. Oh, I've actually only put on 1 centimeter out of the 3 or 4 that we've allowed. Yeah. That's fine. And then I can look at my data and go, well, last cut in 8 weeks, I lost 4 or 5 centimeters off my waist. So I know that I can body fat just pull this back really quickly and keep the muscle mass. Yeah. So, and during that last block, my performance still improved while I lost that 4 centimeters. So
we're in actually a pretty good spot. And I think one of the things in here was like using emotion, not logic.
Yeah.
It's really fucking hard to use logic when you don't have data.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's like I feel a certain type of way, but if you don't actually have anything to confirm that for you, you're just basing it off how you feel, and that's not accurate because you're emotionally invested in what's happening. Because most of the time, you'll talk to someone else and they wouldn't have even noticed that you looked that different.
Yeah.
Like, no one's going to say, oh, you gained 3 centimeters around your waist. Like, no one else can see that. You're just going, I feel yuck. Maybe you've got more food in you. You've got more volume in you. You've got more carbohydrates.
My clothes feel different. Yeah, it's because your muscles are actually fed.
Yeah. And, like, I think not being able to see that is the biggest problem because, like, it's so easy to focus on the shit part.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people will go, oh, I feel puffy around, like, you know, my midsection. But then you look at, like, the hip measurement and, like, the glutes have gone up by 5 centimeters.
Yeah.
And they're like, I didn't notice that. And I'm like, yeah, that's why you feel bigger. And that's part of the goal.
Yeah,
like, you should feel bigger.
That's why your pants are tighter, because your ass is bigger.
Yeah. Like
which is what you wanted, right?
Yeah. So it's like being able to actually see everything on paper and then formulate your next steps off that rather than how you responded when you woke up in the morning.
Yeah. And I think one for the guys there as well, like, who want to get massive. It's like, don't get fat.
Yeah.
Get massive.
Yeah.
So it's like these things work in the same way. It's like, oh, I feel like I'm starting to get pretty big, bro. It's like you've got the ability then to be like, your waist measurement's getting a little, like, you don't want to have to diet for 20 weeks on the back end of your #bulk.
Yeah.
Like, measure this shit. Because sometimes it goes the other way. Like, and I've done it in the past where I was just like, I'm just going to eat so much food. I don't care what happens. I was like, I'm fucking massive. Yeah. And then I was like dieted and I was the same weight.
Yeah.
I was like, I just got fat.
Cool.
Yeah. That didn't
Let's not
work.
do that again. Yeah.
So, it works on both ends of that spectrum.
Yeah, and I think, like, the other thing that we haven't touched on is, like, from the strength perspective, and that probably plays into it as well, which is, like, I want to get stronger, so I just need to eat more. And, like, eating more turns into eating like an asshole. Yeah. And then instead of looking good and being strong, you're just, like, a little bit stronger. Could be better if you actually ate properly and mostly fat.
Yeah, like, but let's, like, powerlifting's just, like, doing the same thing without any... without having to be as disciplined with your diet. Yeah. Like, that's the meme. It's like, good luck. Yeah. Yeah, let me know how that
could be
that niggle feels and the sleep that you didn't get and the progress you don't make because you're not actually managing your food properly. You're just eating like a prick. Like, yeah.
And it's just not it.
Nah, it's not a fun way to live.
And you're not actually putting yourself in a position where once you're done with that, you can then go on and go, okay, cool, now I want to do this. You have to go backwards and, like, reverse all the fucking damage that you did in that phase. So you're actually not getting a better quality, like a higher standard of a result because you have to go back and fix all the shit that you just fucked up in that phase. Yeah,
and look, we probably have to make note that some people are willing to sacrifice other parts of their life to achieve a specific outcome. And, like, I, until 12 months ago, put myself in that category. I didn't give a fuck about anything else in my life in terms of physicality other than getting really fucking strong. So getting up and down and playing with my niece and nephews was really challenging. Talking on a YouTube video,
even harder.
It actually was really challenging. And at the time, I didn't care.
Yeah.
But if you're at that stage where I don't care, I'll do everything to be the best at this that I can, there's such a thing as weight classes.
Yeah.
And gone are the days where the fattest guy wins. Like Will Crozier, Anthony Krusner, all these guys are fucking peeled so they can fit into their weight class at their height. So it's like there's no, like...
It's not the excuse anymore.
Yeah. Oh, #weight moves weight, bro. No, fucking muscle moves weight. Like...
Be less fat.
Yeah. Like, those days are over now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I think, like, that's a really big consideration for the strength people. Yeah. Trying to put together a diet that supports that goal. Training. So the thing that stands out to me, and we've broken it down into, like, lifting for strength and lifting for body comp, is knowing what you need to do and how you need to move for both of those goals to support that and actually execute movement in a way to facilitate those outcomes.
Yeah, and yes. And the fact that you need to know both.
Yeah, and
regardless of the goal.
Well, because they're going to swap over. It's like
Yeah.
sometimes, even if you want to get really strong, you're going to have to train for hypertrophy and moving more weight and not actually like putting a stimulus on the muscle. It's not it. Like you're not going to get stronger. You're just going to hurt yourself. So knowing how to execute for both of those goals. And like you get the person who's like doing a 3-rep squat going, I don't feel my glutes. And it's like, you're not fucking meant to.
Yeah.
Like, you're just meant to move the weight.
Yeah.
So it's knowing what you're actually looking for
Yeah.
inside of those movements and the execution as well.
There's going to come a time where physique progress is limited by your strength, and there's going to come a time where your strength progress is limited by your amount of muscle mass.
Yeah.
So you need to know how to do both. Sometimes they overlap depending on the previous pillar, like the programming and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, execution of knowing. So that client that we talked about, like they want a 5 at the start of their session, and then we can sell them the volume after that. It's like how you do the 5 is not the same as how you do the 10.
Yeah.
And understanding that, the why behind that, and it's one of my biggest pet peeves. It's like, oh, powerlifting and bodybuilding are the same. It's like they're fucking not.
No.
They're not. One is movement centric, one is muscle centric. They're not the same thing. And understanding even within a program. So something that we do, but we didn't talk about in the programming section, is like, this exercise is for hypertrophy.
Yeah.
This one is for strength. This one is for function. This one is for whatever, party tricks. Like, this is specifically here for a reason. I need you to execute it with that in mind.
Well, it comes back to the definition of technique that we have, which is like through a predetermined range of motion, like for a specific like way of trying to elicit that response. And if we break that whole entire paragraph down, it's like the lunge that we use is the perfect example for that. Because it's like if you're lunging to grow your glutes, if you're lunging to challenge the hip, all of these, if you're lunging for your quads, like that's all going to be executed differently. So if you just put a lunge in someone's program and then they go and do that in a certain way that the coach didn't actually want them to do that, you get to the end of the block and you're like, why is that still shit?
Yeah.
Or like, why did you not grow your glutes? Or why do you have no hip stability?
Yeah.
So it's like knowing how you're executing for the purpose of that goal.
Yeah, and you'll do it the way that you're the best at it.
Every time.
Which yeah. So it's like if you're a hip dominant person, like I lunge, like I squat, like I'm like a low bar squat.
I hate lunging for my quads.
Yeah.
Hate it.
Yeah.
I'll never do it unless I actually look at it and it's like quad and I'm like,
fuck my life. Yeah. So really, really important. And I think like being an online coaching group as well, like being able to assess your own lifts is really important. When you're online or not, like even face-to-face clients, like we need, you're going to train more times a week than when you're with me.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to assess during a set, how does this feel, how does it look, etc. After a set, after a session, over a week, how is my lifting this week?
Yeah.
And be able to identify, to plug into that and execute it consistently.
Yeah, and like just know what you're looking for. Like obviously we teach the progression regression model and we teach like the reference lines, and it's like knowing what you need to look for to then be able to fix that in the moment.
Yeah.
Like not have to send it to your coach, wait till Monday for your check-in, wait to do that session again on Thursday, and then try and be better at it. It's like knowing what you need to look for so that when you look at the video, you don't have to send it. Like, oh, I didn't realize I was doing that.
Yeah.
I'll fix it in the next set.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. Last one?
Yeah, recovery. So the way that I like to put this is everything else that happens outside of your time in the gym. So it's like, what are all the other things that accumulate? Like they're all kind of little things that people just tend to miss. Like, yes, it's nutrition, but it's like, when are you eating? What are you eating before training? Hydration, like alcohol, sleep, stress management, all of those things that on their own don't seem that significant, but when they accumulate and they're all fucking downhill as well, like that just puts you in the worst possible position and it's going to cut your progress short. So it's like, what are all of the things outside of training that I need to consider? How can I maximize them so that when I go into the gym and when I, fast forward 3 months time and look at my results, like that's a reflection of everything looking really good as like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not a whole lot to add to that, and I think the hit home message that I would put on that is that's the difference between a trainer and a coach.
Oh, 1,000%.
So a trainer or a programmer, and their Instagram handle doesn't dictate this. Like, you fucking put whatever,
Online coach.
Put PhD in front of it, I don't care. Writing a program for someone and just giving them the program and not considering lifestyle factors and recoverability of the individual that is a moving target is just programming. It's not coaching. Yeah. So, like, I'm sure you've had heaps of it. I reckon at this point, 70% of my clients have had COVID. Yeah. So it's like, what? Are they just going to do the program again?
Yeah, I know.
Or are they been educated enough throughout the journey? So I had one of my girls who got sick and she was like, yo, my RIR is supposed to be 1 next week. I fucking ate toast all week last week because I had a gastro bug. Can I repeat week 2? Yeah. Which was rep and reserve of 2 and I was like, yes, and you can drop half the volume of your accessories as well if you feel like doing them. Yeah. And she was like, okay, sweet. Guess who's going to have a good week and feel like she won and tick a box and not draw out being sick for 1 week for the next 6 weeks? Yeah. And who actually will recover and will show up next week and hit that 1 rep and reserve and probably hit a PB for the block, possibly an all-time PB, and is looking real good for the lift off again.
Yeah, I had the exact same thing with a client who got just sick, like just no COVID, just sick.
Because that still happens. It's fun. Who knew? Amazing, right?
Yeah, well, lucky her. So she got sick. I said, you haven't trained half volume next week. She did a half volume. She was like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, that saved my life. 2 weeks later, got COVID, came back and has done half volume without me having to say anything. Yeah. And he's like, this has just stopped me from feeling like shit for the next month instead of like just calling it right now and knowing like where to draw the line and like, you know, how to kind of manage things so that it doesn't spill over any longer than it needs to, because right now I'm like, I haven't trained and I need to like, you know, go balls to the wall to make for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, it goes one of 2 ways. You either don't train the second week because you're like, oh, it needs to be perfect before I go back. And then how do you feel after a week on the couch? Fucking horrible. And the next week is atrocious. Yeah. Like, this sucks. Like, I don't know if it was COVID or a head cold. I stayed home, guys. It's fine. I did a rat test. It was negative. Once rat test has been negative. Yeah. Anyway, 4 days literally just fucking on the couch. All I wanted to do was move. Yeah. But it's like, go in and do half volume. If I had stayed on the couch for another week,
felt worse.
It's like, now it takes 2-3 weeks to get going again. Yeah. Those decisions now, you're able to look at and go, what makes me the best in 8 weeks? Yeah. I don't have to worry about this moment. Yeah. What makes me the best in 8 weeks? And then once the 8 weeks comes, it's like, cool, we're doing another one in 6 months. Yeah. Or we've changed our goal to the other side, or we've chosen some other quantifiable time-sensitive goal, and we're able to go, well, this decision that I make right now across all of these pillars. Yeah. Makes me the best body composition and or lifter in that time frame.
Yeah. And I think like that's the best way to put it for all of these things. It's like being able to zoom out and make the decision that services you in 3 months' time or 6 months' time, not the you right now. Yeah. And like that's what takes you to the next level, because you're not caught in this spiral of like trying to just make yourself feel good in the moment, like get this instant gratification or this validation and feel like I'm on the right track, but then in 2 weeks' time, like everything turns to shit. Yeah. It's being able to zoom out and go, no, this is what's going to help by here, because this is the golden ticket, and that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. So outcome wise, by the end of all of that, hashtag master method with no E, because we're cool like that. Yeah. Should have a clear purpose in your training and nutrition. So if we look through those things, like getting your mindset in place, putting a good program together, setting up a nutrition plan that's going to work for you, that's both proactive and reactive. Same with the program. You know what you're doing with your training. You know how to assess your lifts. You know how to measure whether it was a good session or not. You've got all of that in place, and we're considering lifestyle, and we're able to, again, be proactive and reactive in the methodology that we use. That's going to end up on the brown sauce list as well. So if we put all of that together, we do have a clear purpose in training. And because we've got this hybrid proactive reactive method, that allows us to progress under all circumstances as well. So this like life got in the way thing, fuck that.
Doesn't happen anymore.
We don't need that anymore because we can adapt and get an outcome at all times.
Yeah.
And that outcome is tangible. So when in 6 months' time,
when Ben asks
when we get back on it and I'm like, tell me the results you've got in the last 6 months, you have an answer. You don't have to go, why have I wasted so much fucking time?
Unfollow Ben, leave me alone. Don't talk to me. I don't want to tell this man anything anymore. Yeah, and then obviously like the biggest thing that comes out of that is being able to take yourself to the next level. So it's like reaching and capitalizing on all the effort that you put in and like making sure that you have reached your potential and you've been able to see what that is for yourself and grow on it and evolve on it. Yeah. Because like that's not capped.
Yeah, and that's exactly, your highest potential isn't limited.
Yeah. Yeah. Which awesome. Is a good take-home message. Well, that's a good place to leave it.
I want to go train. Can we go train? I want to go redo my goals and I'm going to tell Amy that, like, fuck the honeymoon. I'm just training.
Stay home.
It's just going to be...
I'm doing the lift off. I'm doing the photo shoot.
That's going to be a gym tour of Europe. Fuck it.
It can't be a gym tour. You're already doing workouts.
Oh, you want to go? You want to go walk on a glacier? Nah. I got some weights to lift.
I'm just meditating in the morning, and you're like, ah.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody.
If you guys like this episode, if it was valuable, please tag and share onto the story. So you
5-star rating too. Sorry.
5-star rating. And tag at STCfit at Nat Jurek STCfit
at Ben Scott STC.
And I can't remember Jason's handle, but
at JasonGalia_STC. I've done that a few times.
Yeah. If you guys are interested in online coaching, like we mentioned throughout the episode, we have got some new coaches starting with us. So we've got Zion and Seb at the moment. So you can slide into DMs or submit your application through the link in the bio.
Yeah. And one thing I guess we did today was talked a lot about the what, not really the how and the application stuff. So jump onto STCfit.com, have a look around. We have tons of free resources on there, lots of articles. Obviously, there's more episodes of the podcast as well. Have a look around there. Milk us for all we're worth. Because the purpose of them being out there is to improve the standard of training and help people. So, get in and check that out. So just STCfit.com. Yeah.
And if you've heard the lift-off talk and the photo shoot talk and you want to get involved, there's probably still some time depending on where you're at right now. So touch base immediately. And if not, we have them biannually. So end of year will be happening around November. So definitely now is the time to get involved.
Maybe I'll do November for my birthday.
You and I both. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Interesting. Stay tuned for that news.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys.